Evaluating expressions. This is a review of part 4. In today's lesson, students will use substitution to evaluate expressions with exponents. Expressions with what? Exponents. So let's review. An exponent is the little number touching the base. What is it? It's the little number touching the base. Okay, so we're working with squares. We're working with what? Squares. And this is a base, and the exponent is 2. We call this exponent a square. We call it a what? A square. And it doesn't mean that you're multiplying the base by 2. It means that there is 2 of the base. Okay? So let's read the definition of a square together. When the exponent is 2, see how the exponent is 2 here? You need to multiply the base by itself 2 times. So technically, this means if the base is x and you square it, this means x multiplied by x. Also, you could write it as x times x. Okay? Now the base often has a number that you're going to be given, and it's going to be the big number. Okay? So the exponent is the little number and the base is the big number. Okay? Now, when it's negative and squared, the answer is positive. So, let's go over the example. If the base is negative 5, what is x squared plus 3? Well, x is negative 5, right? X is negative 5, so you put negative 5 in the parentheses. What is negative 5 squared? Negative 5 squared means that there's 2 of negative 5, so you say negative 5 times negative 5. Well, a negative times a negative is positive. So negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. When you add 3, you get 28. Okay, so go ahead and get this down. So let's go over more substitution where you're going to be putting numbers in the place of x, but then you're going to square it. Okay, so first step is putting parentheses around the x's, okay? Because we're going to go ahead and substitute this number in the place of x. Now, let's go ahead and do the first 3. Let's practice. We're saying we're going to put a number that we're going to square, then we're going to subtract 5. So in the parentheses is this number that you'll square, then you'll subtract 5. In the parentheses is a number that you're going to square, then subtract 5. Okay, the first 3 will show 3 lines of work. Okay, now, I gave you a different value for x. What is x here? X is negative 1. Okay, negative 1. Now, what is negative 1 squared? What does that mean? It means negative 1 multiplied by negative 1. Then you're going to subtract 5. All right, are we good? Okay, now, do we all know what 1 times 1 is? If I have 1 times 1, 1 of 1 is 1, right? So what about negative 1 times negative 1? What is that? It's going to be positive 1, right? So you're going to end up getting a positive 1 then you're going to subtract 5 here. Okay. What is 1 take away 5? Again, it's positive 1 and a negative 5. Do you have the same signs here or different signs? Say, are they same or different? This is positive. You have a positive 1 and a negative 5. Are they different signs? Yes. Say, different signs, subtract. So you subtract 5 minus 1 and keep the sign of the higher number. The higher number is 5. So we're going to write this as 4, but it's negative 4. Okay, makes sense? 1 take away 5. It's not 4, it's negative 4. Okay, next one. Okay, now we're going to plug in a What is this? It's a positive 3, right? All right. Now we should remember what 3 squared is. Who knows what 3 squared is? It means 3 times 3. Very good. So you put a little v and say, look, I know that 3 squared means 2 3s. 3 in parentheses and 3 in another parentheses. I'm going to multiply these together, then I'm going to subtract 5. So what is 3 times 3, my friends? 3 times 3 is positive 9 minus 5. Okay, regular 9 minus 5 is 4. Okay, no negative. Okay, last one on here. Now we have x is what? X is negative 2. Now x is negative 2. Okay, well, negative 2 squared means I'm going to take negative 2, multiply it by itself 2 times, then I'm going to subtract 5. Okay, who knows what negative 2 times negative 2 is? Negative times negative is positive, and 2 times 2 is 4. So now we have a positive 4, and I'm going to subtract 5. Positive 4 and negative 5. Same signs or different signs? They're different, right? Yeah, different signs. What do you do with different signs? Different signs subtract. 5 take away 4 is 1. Keep the sign of the negative, it's negative 1. Okay? Negative 1. All right, go ahead and get that down. Let's do our last set of examples. We're going to use this expression. In parentheses, this says, read it with me, x squared minus 10. What does it say? X squared minus 10. So we're going to set it up with an empty parentheses. A number squared minus 10. Because it could be any of these numbers. A number squared minus 10. A number squared minus 10. All right. So first we're going to plug in what number? Negative 1. That's right. Remember what negative 1 squared is? That's negative 1 times negative 1. It makes what? Remember? Positive 1. So really we're talking about 1, which is a positive number. Then we're going to subtract 10. What is 1 minus 10? Can you do that? No. Well, they have the same signs or different signs? Different signs. So when they do have different signs, you can subtract, but you're going to end up with what? What's going to be your answer here? 10 minus 1 is 9, but it's going to be negative 9 because the bigger number is 10 and it's negative. Okay? Now we're going to plug in what goes here? What goes here? A 3. Remember what 3 squared is, right? 3 squared is 9. What does 9 take away 10? 9 take away 10. Well, again, this is a positive 9, and this is a negative 10. I'll go ahead and make it red so you can see. This is negative 10 and positive 9. Same signs or different signs? They have different signs. So for different signs, you subtract. You do 10 take away 9, which is what? 1, but it's not positive 1, it's negative 1 because 10 is the bigger number and it's negative. Last one, we're going to plug in a negative 2. Plug in negative 2. Okay. We know what negative 2 squared is. It means negative 2 times a negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive what? Positive 4, right? So we're working with positive 4 and a negative 10. So you think, what is 4 minus 10? Okay, do they have different signs? Yes. So you say different signs, subtract. Okay, subtract 10 minus 4. Keep the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number is negative. So 10 minus 4, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So the answer here is negative 6. Okay, Go ahead and get that down.